Everyone, welcome back to another episode of our tactic test series. So today we have a 4-3-3. We've called it dual runnings as a lovely gesture to some of everyone's favorite Olympics, a Jamaican bobsledding team movie. But that's the nickname, come to a great one. I really like it. It's a cheeky little one. But yeah, it is based around two dynamic runners around your two central midfielders who will be doing a lot of the work for you and be really, really important in this system. Hope you guys are excited. I know I am, and we'll take a look at how the teams do, as well as talk about some tactics and systems that will be employed using this one. Everyone, it's time now to talk tactics. As usual, we're back in the data hub and we're here to have a chat. So first, we will start with our build-up as we're going to do. We're going to go build-up, attacking, and defending, as well as in attacking. I'll show you just a few clips of that as we have a bit of a longer one, as this is a two-part tactic episode. There's a second version of this. So to make sure we have enough time for both, we're going to just shorten some things a little bit. But that's what we're going to get into. So in build-up, the main look of this team is going to be a 2-3-2-3 shape. So I'll show you that right now. So we're going to have our two center backs here. We're going to have our six. We're going to have our wing backs, we're going to have our two center mids, and we're going to have our front three. So as you can see, we have a 2-3-2-3 shape. That's what we're looking for. Now, this shape can also be altered to be a 2-3-4-1 shape as well, with these wingers coming back. That will obviously depend, but normally what we want to see is more of the 2-3-2-3 shape, as that's what's going to give us the better triangles in what we want to see. So that it will kind of depend on that, and then obviously could depend on, say, if you have a trait for striker drops deep, or the winger drops in, or something like that, which could alter that. But normally you want your wingers higher because it will give you better space in the passing and the build-up. So we can kind of see that here by, if I draw the lines, you can see the lines between, and you can see these kind of triangles that are created from it. So these are those key triangles which you're going to see here, which are really important. And this is what we're really looking for when we're building out right now, is this shape in this back line here. So exclude these guys, but this is what we're looking for. Sorry, let me draw this line here. This is what we want to see, because this is the really, really important thing in terms of this team and building up. There's two categories that we're going to run this build up, and there's two ways it's going to happen. As you guys know, I like to have multiple ways of build up. But usually what we want to see is the goalkeeper has the instruction distribute two center backs and roll it out, meaning he'll roll it out to one of these two. We'll start with on the right, a righty, inclination to go right. The two options are into the six, into the wingback. Those are the two options we want every single time. They're really important because you can see the triangles that are created. We'll draw this one out as well so you guys can see that. So that helps you better understand the wingback role. So that's kind of the thing. Don't worry about the striker. He's off in no man's land. This is the shape that we want to see. So when this guy gets, he's got two options. Goes into here or goes into here. And if he goes into here, the big thing about this is that he either can play forwards here, so goes ping, ping, ping. Then hopefully by that time this guy gets it, he's here, he's up here now, and he now gets it back and he's advanced higher up the pitch. Obviously, it can always just be kind of quick into these guys, then he can go into the striker or something. But what we want to mainly see is the ball goes wide here. He then has the option to go inside or go back out wide or carry the ball forward, which is the other thing we want to see. You'll understand why I want him to carry the ball forward when I show some of the examples of the goals later on. But normally, if we're building out, we want him to get it here and then play off into one of these guys. Or if they cover everyone, so they cover, their 10 covers him, one of their center mids covers him, one of their fullback covers him, someone covers him. He's got a one-on-one. He needs to beat that guy one-on-one and go, because then it's going to pull everyone out of position and they're good. Or the other builder we're looking for is we get it into the center back, goes into the six here, and then he has the opportunity to adjust our play and go however we want. Now, there is a pass, which is this, that you could hit, but I don't want it. I don't want to see that played. It is feasible, but we don't really want to see it. We want to see the pass into one of the two center mids or out to the fullbacks here, because they're going to be the key guys, these wing backs, because they're going to be the ball carriers. In essence, we pretty much have five guys that are our key guys that are going to carry the ball forward into the attacking area, where then the wingers and striker we can do a little more dangerous. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the guys. The 6 is going to be more of moving the ball to someone, and then they're going to carry it, and then he can receive it back. But mainly we want to see is that we get the ball, goes into the 6, goes into one of these guys, he carries the ball forwards. Goes into this guy, he carries it forwards, or takes a little bit, goes the wide, winger carries it forwards. But by the time he gets to the winger, we want the winger to be in this attacking half already. So you can get some idea of that's kind of what we want to see once we get to build up. It's pretty basic. It's just a classic 4-3-3 build up where the six is dropping in, he's offering in possession, the center backs go wider to support it. He drops in. I mean, it's really basic, it's really simple. I've probably overcomplicated it by explaining it to you that way, but it's just get the ball, get it wide to the wing back. They can carry it, or they play it inside to help 1-2s. Play it into the 6, he goes into one of the 8s, or he goes out to the 2 or the 3, who then can carry it forwards, or the 8s carry it forward before getting it wide to the winger, or using the 6 to create 1-2s to get there as well. It's just that. It's pretty basic, but that's what we want to see. So I'll readjust for the attacking bit, and I'll describe what I want to see for those. So this would be an example of when we're in the attacking half. Now, we're going to assume that the wingback carry the ball forward, and we're in this position now. One of the big things that this tactic does, and that I really want to talk about when it's in the attacking half, is it creates the ability to attack out wide and then use the middle as the scoring opportunity. So the key players are here. So normally if the ball's on the right, the halfback's going to be shifted over, and the center backs are going to be options in possession. So you're going to have an arc of players that he can pass to. We do need to bring the defense in. I need to bring the back 4 in, just so you can get an understanding of why certain people make some runs and are doing certain things. So if you notice here, they have their team set up. We'll put their whole team in, just so it's not weird. Okay, so in essence, what probably will happen is we'll assume they're playing a 4-2-3-1 as well, because it's pretty common nowadays. In essence, what we want to see happen is we want to see all these players get picked up. So as you can see here, if you imagine all these players getting picked up, all our runners coming through the midfield, what will happen is these guys all get marked, meaning this guy has to be taken up by this dude here, or if he beats him, he now is going forwards. This guy has to step, meaning he can play here, but then this guy has to step. So then that leaves open space. And that's going to be the big thing, is that because we send so many runners forwards, and we have our center mids breaking into the attacking line, creating a line of 5 players, they're always overwhelmed and always outnumbered. Meaning that just from our runners going with the ball, we have an outnumbered on their back 4. Or we match up against their back 5. But if we match up against their back 5, we also have our wingbacks attacking as well, which is the really key thing. Because since we have our wingbacks attacking on top of that, there's even more people there. There's even more people in the way, which is really good because they don't have the people to do anything. So, in essence, the shape will look kind of like a 2-1-4, or a 2-1-2-5 is really kind of what we want. But it could also be a 2-1, a 2-1-5? That doesn't make any sense. No, a 2-1-2-5 is what we'd want to see. But sometimes you might see a 2-1-2-4-1 as well, because the striker might be a little higher on top of that for it as well. But mostly you want to try to get this ball out wide. You want to try to create the overload so they have players step out. Meaning that, say our winger gets it here, those guys have stepped out, he comes to press, look who's open! Oh wow, look, we have a center mid open, pass, now he's got a shot on goal. And that's kind of what we want to see. We want to get down the wing, we want them to try to come over to press us, we then can just pass because there's going to be overloads of our players in those areas, boom, get it to the byline, he's got it, he passes it across. Or, say our wingback has beaten someone, they've beaten other players, this guy occupies him, no one comes out to step, guess what? Oh, he's beaten more people. Now, the center mid's in the middle, the winger's in the middle, now he's beaten more people, guess what? He's going to drive, and then eventually, someone will step, that's when the pass is played. And that's the thing, it's just every time is always going to be an overload, because we'll always have more people than they will crashing the box. It's probably one of those fortunate things, because FM doesn't seem to really deal with that very well, but it's one of those things that works, and has worked so well with this tactic. And it's really honestly great. But I'm going to explain defense after this. But first, I'm going to show you 2 examples of goals to show why those overloads and how we work those, and really why it's so important to have those being created in this tactic. And why you really need to be aware of having a really good wingback and really aggressive. So high stamina, high work rate, and get forward whenever possible are going to be so key to having this tactic work. And you need those on those wingbacks because they'll be the best. I even would suggest converting a winger to a wingback in this system. I use Genepo as a winger in my standard Liege tactic in the network safe, and he's a winger, but he uses him as a wingback, and he's exceptional. So just something to take aware of and consider, because the wingbacks in this system are more attacking than they are defensive. So just something to think about and something to consider. But 2 examples now will show you how key it is to get those out wide overloads and where the goals come from. So this is one of the examples of goal that I wanted to talk about in terms of getting the ball wide for the cutback to the central midfielders. You can see Genepo gets from our halfback, gets down the wing and cuts it back, and Alzate is there. So it's pretty basic, but it's just one of the things I wanted to mention. So we see here the ball comes from our left center back into our left back and then into our CDM, who is our halfback. We then see all these players making the runs. So we have our winger, we have our center mid, we have our striker, and we have our other center mid all making the runs and already on that back line. You can see the center mid making the run, the winger making the run as well. Hayden is able to turn. He finds space because there's so many runners. There's a gap out wide and their player tries to come. Genepo gets it, drives, Alzate. Look, we have our center mid, winger, striker, all these guys crashing the box in that central area. He pokes it through. Alzate's got space. Boom, there's the goal. So that's one of the examples I wanted to show of just the cut back to that central midfielder that's really important for scoring those goals. So here's another example of a goal. This one is the wingback creating the assist here. So you can see Fossey drives down the side, keeps going, cuts it across the space in the middle for our center mid to score the goal as well. So as you can see, they're very similar to the one that we just showed before in terms of the goal, but you can see we get this here, passing down the line. Oh, can't go forward. Bring to the halfback here. He goes, hey, the wingback's free. Let me give it to him. And now he runs. And one of the biggest things is that we can see the center mid, the striker, and another center mid are occupying their back 4, as well as our winger is now occupying that guy. And he's now just beaten their winger. So that means either a center mid has to come out and engage one of these guys here, but they don't, or their winger or their wingback has to come and engage, but he's occupied by our striker. This leaves Fossey to go. They bring their center mid. He gets burned. Now he's burned 2 to 3 guys. They're all out of position, meaning that center mid, who right here should have been covering him, is gone out to press. He doesn't win it. Fossey gets it. Now we have all this space. I mean, look at the gap he has in the middle here. And it's an easy finish. So just to show you 2 examples of how it works really well to score the goal and what we're looking for in that goal scoring. This is an example of defending for us. So I'm just going to talk quickly about that. In essence, it's like a lot of my systems. It's very, very aggressive pressing. So when it comes to defending, the goal is to win the ball high up the field and be hyper aggressive, as I mentioned. We'll be looking to press high and be able to be very aggressive, like when it comes to tackling on top of that. So we want to commit a foul, because if we're beaten, it's going to be really a big problem. So we want to tackle, we want to be aggressive and foul them if they get by, because then it stops the attack. We can then continue. So obviously, do need to be aware about yellow cards in this system, as we will probably incur a lot of them. But it's one thing just to be aware of. You want aggressive players in this system as well, but not too aggressive. You don't want to give away reds. So one of the big things also is that the striker is going to set the attack, which is why he's a pressing forward in this system. So the striker, depending on where the ball goes in terms of when they have it, to a center back, is going to press. He's going to go this way. It's going to force it this way. If we force it wide, which is the whole goal, we will be in a great spot, because then this guy is going to be able to press right away. And if they're in a 4-2-3-1, guess what? Marked. He can cover over here and leaves a free guy. So then, hopefully, you want you want your other center back to cover, because then, oh no, he's beaten him. That's okay. He can step, and we can still be very, very aggressive in this attack. And that's the thing, we want to press. So that's kind of how we press out of a goal kick there, or in possession of the back. That's the way we're going to look to press them when they're building up. The other thing is, so say if we lose the ball, if you think about it, when we lose the ball, it's going to be in these wide areas here. So mainly when we lose the ball, it's going to be in a wide spot where we have numbers forwards like this, meaning they'll just hopefully latch on to the next players near them. And even, best of all, if we lose the ball out wide to one of these guys, most of the time we'll have a double team of these 2 players out here, meaning they can both press at the same time. win it back, and then go and attack. Because that's the big thing there, is we're going to have overloads out wide. So, and say we lose the ball off the cross, right? So this guy's here, we've beaten him, he's kind of left in the dust, he's left in the dust. We have other guys up here, we cross. Let's put the people in the box because we're going to have guys crashing. They'll probably be here, they'll be up like this. Striker will probably be waiting, their 10 will be a little deeper, I bet. He'll probably be in no man's land, and he'll probably be back here. We played in, boom, it's cleared. Oh no, it's cleared out. Well, guess what? If they go to clear it, most of the time we're going to have people in the box, meaning they'd have to then clear it on the ground riskily to the top where they have a player, or they hit it long. We have players that are a little wider, they're going to be able to get it. Or our 6 can get it in the air as well, meaning we get it, recycle, boom, 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 goal. So it's just going to be a lot of high press, force the long ball, win it in the air with the 2 free center backs or the 6, restart possession, get it back. Or if they do get 1 or 2 more passes forwards, there's going to be a lot of space in behind. They're hopefully going to go for a long ball. They hit it, goalkeeper wins it, plays it back, we restart and go again. And that's kind of the thing. It's just really, really high up. We lose the ball high up the field. They have to go long to get it. So you have to go long and be really direct against the system to have any success. The only concern is out wide, and that's where we are vulnerable. So do be wary. You don't want to have slow center backs. You need quick center backs in the system, because if they do get it wide, you need to close it down with one of these guys. The center back has to step out and close it down, which is a problem at times because you can get beat and then have a 2v1, but you really want to get them out there. You want them to try to foul. The other side can cover him. The other winger will go, and the other wing back will help cover. So that's what you hope to see. But that's the other thing there, is if they do go wide, your center back needs to press and needs to go forward, which is why they need to be more aggressive and have that speed as well to be able to close down that space and stop the attack. Now, with that being said, it's time to get into how the teams did, what everyone performed, as well as show you the other version of the tactics that you guys can also use for this system. One of the first teams that this test was centered around was Standard Liège. Now, we are running a network save on the Discord Hall of FM, which you guys are welcome to join in the description below, and they are who I've been chosen to play. And so I made this tactic for them. I really, really liked it, and I wanted to test it out with other teams and see how it worked before doing it, and I was really, really impressed. So I thought, we'll give it to you guys as the community. You can do what you want with it and see how it is. And I'm really happy with it. But first, we'll talk about Standard Liège, a little bit of how they've done, look at some of the heat maps, some other things they've had. We'll talk about our other 2 teams that we used as well as a second variant of the formation with the last team we look at, and we'll kind of go through that. Now, I didn't talk about the last team variant in the tactics thing because it's the same idea. It's just that things are designed to do a little less in possession. You'll see when we talk about it. So, the team itself did really, really quite well, as you can see. So, Standard Liège themselves were expected to, expected to finish in 11th in the league, and we got 2nd place, only by 1 point, which is really great. They finished the semifinals of the cup, so really high overperformance from this side. And you can see one of the big things, it's on home. That was really important, is they scored a lot of goals, and they had a really good defense. So this is a tactic designed around scoring goals, really good defense, as you guys know. But that's really what it shows, as well as they actually underperformed, and they should have done even better. So expected points was 75. They only got 50. Just to give you an understanding of how good this is supposed to be. They were supposed to have 75 points. All right, giving you that idea. 75. That's how insane it was that they're supposed to get, which is crazy good. So we can see that stuff. One of the things I do want to just look at and show you guys quickly are the key passes are coming from these areas here. As we talked about, one of the big things we want is those runners and the striker making those runs into the middle of the box so that you have those runners crashing and the ball's coming from out wide via the fullback or the winger. And as you guys can see in this, it's exactly what we got. A lot from the corners, the crosses coming in, as well as even from these areas going into all that middle area and all the shots showing up right in that central zone. So you can really see it really working in those ways. Now, the left and the right, surprisingly, the middle had a little more than the right, but again, it's also for the sake that we build up deeper in the middle of the pitch. To give you an idea, the heat map a little bit, the pass map, I cannot speak. You guys can see how high the wing back and the winger are when it comes to being next to each other. Super close to each other. The 2 center backs, the halfback, the 2 center mids, and the striker. So you can really see in terms of how high up the pitch they get and how aggressive we are. The shape goes to being nearly a 2-1, 5-1 almost, right? Am I saying that? 2-1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 2-1-6-1 almost, or even a 2-1-4-3 at times as well. So that's just kind of how it looks in terms of that. And you can also see what I was talking about in terms of creating that kind of arc for defending, where you have all these bodies here that kind of cover that space and create that kind of that circular kind of just like funnel that stops each other. So you can kind of see in terms of that sense, just to give you guys, obviously they hammered these guys, but just a bit of the heat maps. You can see it's kind of spread out evenly. There's not loads in one area. It's a lot of kind of across the pitch, a lot more lateral, and then some stuff in the middle here where there's going to be the ball played. But that's kind of what it looks like in terms of that. You can see how well they did in that sense. So really doing incredible and really having a really high level of achievement. Now, the other did we did was Real Madrid. I wanted to obviously look at how well a top team would do, but also with the player that's not as amazing striker-wise. Now, Joselu does fit the role that I want really well, so it does work. But having two dynamic wingers like Vinny Jr., as well as a wing-back like Mendy and Carvajal, really bed into the system perfectly, as well as players like Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Modric, Kroos. It's really, really good in this midfield, where this should be perfect for these guys. And it was really perfect. They came within one game of a quadruple with this tactic. So you can just get an idea of how well they played. Won the league by 7 points. Runners up in the Champions League, winner of the Copa del Rey, winner of the Super Cup. So nearly a quadruple for the team. So incredible with how well they did play. Now, they had 106 goals scored, 29th conceded, which is the second best. And you can see who really did very, very well. They scored more. They actually overachieved this time. But some of the things you guys can even see, just even with these guys, lots of passing and accurate passing. I mean, we can even see here, it's not the most, but it's still good in terms of what we're looking for. But this is one of the big ones. Lots of dribbles and frequently fouled. You're winning a lot of set pieces. So this also will lend yourself to a team that is looking to win free kicks and use set pieces to utilize yourself. The crossing, lots of it, needs to be a little better. But again, when you're putting as many crosses are in this system, it's going to adjust those things in that way. And we don't need to worry about aerial. But even you can see possession loss. Look at the areas. Look how little possession is lost down here. Look how small amounts. It's all in these areas here. It's all this stuff going on there, which is a big thing. We don't want to lose the ball high up the pitch. They can't then counterattack in those deep areas. Defensively as well, that's fine. I mean, the poor tackling isn't good, but the quiet and impenetrable defense, frequently wins ball and reliable in possession are really, really important. I mean, look at this goalkeeping here. Look at this. I mean, conceded per game, shots faced per game. He faced 6 shots per game in goal. 6. How insane is that defensively? He's faced 6 shots a game. When you're facing 6 shots, it's going to be pretty easy. Like, we've limited the shots they can take against us so heavily that you're getting almost nothing in a game. So it's so impressive. This is broken. So that's interesting. But even if we look at last match a little bit, I mean, this is against Bayern where they did struggle a lot, but still you can even see some of the things. Obviously, there were some issues here in terms of Mendy and Vinicius' issues, but you can kind of see what we are going for. In terms of where the shots are, where key passes are, it's all those central areas and things like that. It's a lot more even here in terms of what we are looking for. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Say, like, we see it against Barcelona. Let's look, see, do we have a last... Yeah, here's the pass map against Barcelona. It's a lot nicer here. You have those sections off to the side where you have those players, the triangles that are created that you can see. It looks a lot better in that game compared to others. Even if we look at goals, look at all the shots. Look at where the goals and the shots are, all in central areas, which is really nice to see. So you can get an understanding that it works really, really well, and it's done a great job of what we're looking for. So in terms of the team itself, I mean, also I think the other thing we can look at too is you look at the guys that got the assists. Vinicius Jr., Valverde, Bellingham, Carvajal, Rodrigo. So as you can see, it's in essence those front group, because there's going to be a lot of interchange between, say this, it goes in the center midfielder, they play it into a striker or a winger who takes it and scores, or the winger or the wing back gets it, crosses it, and it's scored by one of the center mids. And we can even see here how much that fits to it. The striker scoring a lot of goals as he's going to receive the ball a lot from the center mids or the wingers or the wing backs. But on top of that, we then have the wingers with the next most, and then the center mids all scoring as well. So you can see you had 1, 2, three guys. You had Valverde with 30 goal and assists, Bellingham with 28, and you had Camavinga with 20. So, like, as you can see, the center mids are stars in this system. They did exceptionally well. So you can see it worked really, really well in that sense. But to give you an idea of how the basic system works, which is the dual runnings normal one, this is a positive system with it's set up in a 4-3-3. You have not say symmetrical, it's just straight up 4-3-3 symmetrical system. You have a CDM, 2 center mids, 2 wingers, a striker, a wing back, and 2 center backs. So for the player instructions, your sweeper keeper on support has pass shorter and tackle harder. Your wing back on attack, this is for both wing backs, has cross aim at center, run wide with ball, shoot less often, sit narrower, close down more, and tackle harder. The right and left center back are the same as well. The players are stay wider and tackle harder, just so you guys can see. They are the same, but just so you guys are easier if you want to see and just double check. Now, the halfback on defend has no additional instructions. The center mids on attack are move into channels, tackle harder, and mark tighter. This is designed so they track any runners coming through the midfield, and the same thing for both of them. Wingers are identical as well. Cross aim at center, shoot less often, stay wider, close down more, and tackle harder, and they're inverted wingers on attack. Same thing as you guys can see. And finally, your pressing forward on attack up top is dribble more and shoot more often. Now, as we said, it's a positive mentality. Your in possession instructions are fairly narrow, overlapped left and right, play out of defense, a shorter passing directness, a higher tempo, and you're working the ball into the box. You can go low crosses if you want. If you don't have a tall team, I do heavily suggest going with low crosses, but if you have, say, a really tall team, you have really big center mids, really big wingers, and a really big striker, you could do floated crosses as well, but I found that mixed crosses was the best, or low crosses, as low crosses also works just with every height. Over floated, you really need to have a much higher height on a lot of people, but low or mixed works well. So again, decide what you want to do with that. Now, in terms of in transition, we have counter press and counter. And you can also later in games, if you're looking to go to an attacking mentality, do distribute quickly on. The team will play a little quicker out of the back. We do want to slow it down slightly so that they come on to us and we can play through. Now, we also have distribute to center backs as well as roll it out, as we want to bring the team onto us and then play through them. Finally, our out of possession instructions are high press, higher line, much more often pressing, prevent short distribution, and get stuck in. And that, my friends, is the dual runnings basic tactic. So that's the main one that I have. Now, if you want a lower league version, something for a team that's going to be struggling a little bit more and not as easily able to do things, we have that as well, and that was tested with Le Havre. So Real Madrid were expected to finish first, they got first. Standard Liège were expected to finish 11th, kind of more mid-table, we got them to finish second. Le Havre were expected to finish dead last in Ligue 1, we got them to 8th place. Pretty good, and comfortably 8th place. Now, the team itself is very solid. They did have some incredible results. They beat PSG, they beat Monaco, as well as beat Lille. So you can see they did do really well. I mean, they drew with Lyon as well. Beat Monaco twice to the double over them. Weren't able to do double over PSG. They beat Nice as well. But so they did get some good wins in there, and you can see it's definitely a tactic that can work for a team. Now, they did get knocked out in the 10th round. They didn't go too far in the cup. But it is pretty solid. And if we look at, say the XG table's broken. We look at this, we can see they were actually expected to finish 8th, and they did underperform slightly with their amount of goals. But if we do look at the overview, they had the 4th best defense in the league. So defensively, it works really, really well for this team, and it's really good to see how well that worked. So it was exceptional for them. If we do look at last match, you can see it's very similar in terms of our pass maps as the other system. It's almost identical, but this one, the wingers are a lot higher, and the center mids kind of sit a little deeper, and then the two center. So it's a slightly deeper system in this one, but you can still see it's that very similar shape, that same kind of design of the pass map and all the pass structures. So very similar in that sense. Look at all the shots, look where all the key passes are. It's the same thing. It's really just the same, just a little more of a defensive focus on that if you want to use, say, against bigger teams where you're not, or you just don't have, say, you want to use this, but you don't have ball playing center backs. This is a system that will work for you. So, Taking a look at the Dual Runnings lower league system. This is very similar to it, but plays on a balanced mentality. The Super Keeper on support is pass it shorter and tackle harder. The wingbacks on attack are cross aim at center, run wide with ball, shoot less often, sit narrower, close down more, and tackle harder. The left wingback is the exact same role. The two center backs are stay wider and tackle harder, and that's the same on both. They're center backs on defend. The halfback, no additional instructions. Both center mids are move into channels, tackle harder, and mark tighter. The same for both of them. The wide wingers are aim cross the center, shoot less often, stay wider, close down more, and tackle harder. Same for both of those. And finally, your pressing forward on attack is dribble more and shoot more often. So pretty much identical to the other system. It's very similar, almost the same. Now, as we said, you have a balanced mentality, but in possession on this one, you have a basic attacking width, unlike a narrow one. You have a standard passing range, unlike that before, and you're not working the ball into the box or playing out of defense. This, you're just overlapping with a higher tempo. Now, if you do want for this, you can go hit early crosses, as well as this is going to be a little deeper, so you can try to get the ball quicker out of your team and get it crossed in a little earlier, as it's going to mainly be looking for the striker in that department over someone else. And if you do want to do that, you could even do floated crosses and put try to get that striker in a little easier so you can get early crosses to them. But that's in essence what is the difference kind of for this one. Now, this is still very similar. It's counter press, counter, and distribute quickly, though, as we want to. It's a little more transitional. You want to get after them in transition. And in this, because we're not using our center backs in possession anymore, we're going to be using our wing backs. So throw it long to the wing backs so you can get the attack started with them, as they're going to be now your main ball carriers in the attack, transitioning you forwards. The three players you want on the ball are 1, 2, and 3, unlike the other system where you'd 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 doing it. So it's slightly different, but still works with the same idea of the ball carrying. You just skip the chance of going to the center backs. This, you have a higher line with a higher press. You have a much more often. You have prevent short goalkeeper distribution as well as get stuck in. So as you guys can see, two similar tactics. It's the same thing really, just with a few things adjusted to help with defending a little bit more, where you don't have a team that is so like they don't have ball playing defenders, because not every team does. This one requires a lot more to come out of the wingback, so you really need to have very, very good wingbacks in this system. This is a little more designed around spending on those guys, get good defensive center backs, and you'll be okay. Because the other ones you need a good, you can kind of get away with having not as good wingbacks, good center mids. This, you really need good wingbacks, as they're really important to carry you forwards. So with this one, the lower league one, your three most key players are the two wingbacks and the halfback. They're your key guys in this system, because without them, you're not going to have the ball transition. You're not going to have the ball carrying abilities and the ability to transition as quickly. But I hope you guys did enjoy the tactic. Both will be down in the description below. For download, you'll have the Steam link as well as a Mediafire link for both. I hope you guys did enjoy today's tactic. Now, if you want to catch up on any more of those, be sure to do so in the description below, where there will be more links to tactic reviews, as well as the end with a playlist link there. If you guys do want to check out the weekly network save, you guys can follow along by checking out our chats in the Hall of FM Discord under the Belgian network save. Or you can see who's taking part in it, as we will usually tweet out who is streaming that day or who are showing it off on Twitch. And you can be sure to see how myself does, as well as various other players on the Hall of Fame community are doing. Thank you again for watching, everyone. I'm sure to catch you guys in the next one.